Hello everyone, welcome to my update 6 to the project Level Up. This project was created by Sophie Alexandra. I'm going to leave her channel and intro video in the description box. But what this project entails is you have to randomly select, or if you don't want to select randomly, I guess you can choose yourself, a palette, and you work on it for a certain level, and after which you can move to a different level and choose a different palette. So for level 1 you select a palette, obviously, and you have to use each shade in that palette once and hit pen on one shadow, and then once you've done that you can move to level 2 after during which you randomly select a different palette and you need to use each shadow 2 times and hit pen on 2. So yeah, this update is kind of late because I didn't have time to film it earlier, but to make up for that, I have a pretty good update, so let's just get into it. But as always, before I get into the update, I just wanted to remind you that the war in Ukraine is still happening. So if you would like to help, I'm going to list a Google Doc with petitions you could sign, as well as places you could donate to, in the description box. Any help is appreciated, so if you either donate or sign the petitions, thank you so much. Other than that, let's just get into the eyeshadows now. Okay, so if you have been following me on this project journey, you know that that I am currently on level 4, and then my level 4 palette is Venus Excess Frosted by Lime Crime. I have been working on this palette for 2 months now, if I remember correctly, and here's what it's looking like today. Hope you can tell, but I managed to hit pen on all of the shades in this palette, which is pretty exciting. So as you may know, since this is my level 4 palette, my goal is to use each shade in this palette 4 times and hit pen on 4. And I've completed this goal, which means in the second part of this video, or I mean like in the end of this video, I'm going to roll in a new palette for level 5. But let me just walk you through each of the shade and how much I used it, and I guess how I used it. So the first shadow in this palette is called Icicle, and it is a pastel blue, which almost looks like a white. I used Icicle 11 times. It was actually the first shade I had pen on, and I was pretty surprised that I did, because I thought it would be way harder to have pen on it. But yeah, I used this shadow mostly, or not really mostly, but a lot as like one shadow look, and I also used it to blend out the deeper shade in the palette, also as like a highlight, like inner corner highlight. So yeah, I quite enjoy this shade. I think it's probably the more pigmented shadow in this palette. But yeah, let's just move on to the next shade, which is called Chili. And I used Chili 10 times, and it was the second shade I hit pen on. I used it a lot in like the same look, which was putting Chili, right? Yeah, Chili, which is the shimmer, all over the lid, and then using the darker color in this palette to do kind of like a 60s cut crease. And I quite enjoyed that look. It looked really nice, and I quite enjoyed this shimmer. It can be a little tricky to use because it's kind of tough, like hard pressed, I guess. But it looks very pretty on a glitter glue. So yeah, it has very nice purple sparkles, which they are not the biggest sparkles, but they're still very pretty. I don't know if you can tell, but they just give this very ethereal look to your lid, which I very much enjoy. Moving on, we have a shade called Comet, which was actually the last shade I hit pan on in this palette, and the pen in it is kind of tiny, but it's still a pen in my book. Yeah, it is I guess a duochrome with a warm reddish pinkish base and silver blue shift. I do like this shadow, but I don't think I like it as much as this one because it is not as shimmery. It's more like I guess you could say a satin, but it also looks very pretty with a glitter base. Did I mention how many times I used it? I forgot. I used it 27 times, which is the most out of all of these. Spoiler. I do quite like it. Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say. It's a pretty good shadow, especially, as I said, if you use it on a glitter glue. I mostly use it in my inner corner, which is why the pan is so small and it took me so long to hit pan on it, because usually when I use shadows only as... I used it not just as an inner corner, but mostly as an inner corner highlight. I'm out of breath. But yeah, when you use shades, at least in my case, when I use shades just as an inner corner highlight for the most of the time, it takes longer to hit pan on them, I guess because you use less shadow in your inner corner. But yeah, I'm very glad I did manage to hit pan on it. So moving on to the last shadow in the palette, which is called Solstice. It is a dark denim blue. I used it 13 times. I hit pan on it third, so yeah. I like this blue a lot, as I mentioned in my previous update. It just blends so well, even though it's not the most pigmented shadow. I kind of like that about it because it's easier not to go overboard with it, and you just have this perfect gradient, especially when you use it with the white. So yeah, I guess that is it. I'm going to show you swatches. I forgot to swatch the shades earlier, but yeah, I'm going to show you the swatches of them, and then we can move on to rolling in of the palette for the level 5. Okay, so I have the swatches. Here's what basically all the palette looks like. So at the top here, the lighter shade, it is Icicle. Then under it we have Chili. This is Comet, and this is Solstice. I feel like the shimmers don't really swatch that well, so here's what Chili looks like on my finger, and here's what Comet, right? Yeah, this is what Comet looks like on my finger. I pretty much always use glitter glue with my shimmers, so they look a lot more impactful when I use the glitter glue. Oh, and yeah, I honestly didn't expect that I would hit pan on this little this little eyeshadow palette this fast, because I have hit pan in Lime Crime shadows before, but I guess when it comes to these small palettes, the pans aren't as deep. So I don't know if you can tell, but they are kind of shallow, honestly. At least compared to the pans in like regular size Lime Crime palettes. So yeah, it was a pretty pleasant surprise. Yeah, here's a look at the colors again, if you, I don't know. Yeah, so since I'm done with my level 4 palette, it means I can finally roll in my level 5 palette, so let's just get into that. Okay, so I have my Pretty Random app ready. My minimum is 1 and my maximum is 103. I have added one new palette to my collection this past month, so that's that. But yeah, before I roll in, I'm just going to tell you my little, I don't know, criteria that would exclude a palette. So one of them is, if a palette is in my Pendos Eyeshadows, I'm not going to roll it into this project. And the second thing is, if the palette has been in this project already, I'm also not going to roll it in. And of course, if for this project, or I mean for level 5, I roll in a palette that is also like a 4 pan, or has less than 5 shades, or has less than 5 shades that don't have pan in it, I also am not going to roll it in. So all the rambling aside, let's just roll the new palette. I'm so excited. So our new palette is going to be under number 15. Okay, it's something older in my collection, so I'm very excited to see what it is. I'm going to grab that palette and come back to you and share it with you. Alright, so I have my new palette and it's a pretty interesting one. I didn't expect it to be this one, but without further ado, my level 5 palette is going to be Storybook Cosmetics Burn Book palette. If you have never seen this palette before, here is what it looks like. It's kind of like half neutral, half colorful palette. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And I don't know how long it will take me. Yeah, I've never hit pan on a Storybook Cosmetics shadow before, so this is going to be interesting. But looking at it, I think some of the shades that do stand out to me as something that I could possibly hit pan on might be Gruel, because I think it's the prettiest shimmer in this palette. I wouldn't say the shimmers in this palette are honestly that good. I think Gruel is the best one. These are a little more on a satiny side, so yeah. But Gruel is pretty good, so maybe I will try to hit pan on Gruel. Then, depending on what I roll into my Pendos Eyeshadows, I might try to hit pan on Glen Coco, which is like your basic neutral, maybe a little cool tone brown, which I like to do all brown smoky eyes a lot, like one shadow type of thing, so that might be an easy one to hit pan on, maybe, I don't know. What else? Maybe the plastics, which is the white. I think that would be a pretty easy one to hit pan on too, because I like to do a one shadow look with a white eyeshadow too. And it's pretty nice to use it as an inner corner or like on your brow bone. So yeah. And I think that's the three that I think I might hit pan on. The rest I'm still grappling with the idea of, yeah. But maybe I could try to hit pan on Mouse Duh, because it could be like a good inner corner highlight, even though, I mean, the base of it isn't too dark, so maybe Mouse Duh, maybe Cool Mom, because I'm quite fond of blue eyeshadow. Yeah, I think these are the shades that I might most likely hit pan on, but I'm not sure. I kind of doubt I will have a pan by the next update, but I will obviously try. I also don't know if I'll be able to use all of the 12 shades 5 times by the next update, so yeah. I think this is going to be pretty challenging, but I'm honestly quite happy to have this palette out because I don't use it much, and I've had it for like 2 years now. So I think it would be nice to have some pan in it. But yeah, I think this is all I have to say. So let's just wrap up this video. Okay, so we have our new palette, and yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting because, yeah, I have no idea how it's going to go, but I'm pretty excited to get some use out of this palette because I feel like it's pretty neglected in my collection. So yeah, I guess that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing good, and take care. Bye.